My name's Yu Shangrong, the green-clad swordsman said with an affable smile. There's no need to be afraid. I never kill without a reason. I'm sorry for intruding upon your hospitality. Farewell. Yu Shangrong turned around and left. He disappeared into the forest in just a blink of an eye. Zhang Chu hissed in pain when he pressed a stump where his thumb once was. At the same time, another hot stream of liquid trailed down his legs again. For hours later, in the Evil Sky Pavilion's Great Hall, Ding Fanqiu shivered as he kneeled on the floor. He kept glancing around his surroundings. The Great Hall was not very impressive, but this was the real Evil Sky Pavilion after all. He was so frightened that he did not even dare to breathe loudly. Duanmu Sheng and Mingshi Yin stood respectfully at the side. Lu Zhou looked at Ding Fanqiu, although this man had impersonated him. He was a 5-leaf nascent divinity tribulation realm cultivator from Yun sect. If Hua Wudao acted just as Duan Xing had predicted, this meant that Hua Wudao would be here soon to resolve the knot in his heart. Therefore, as a person from Yun sect, Ding Fanqiu still had his use. He waved his hand. Lock him up. Understood. Duanmu Sheng picked Ding Fanqiu up and left the Great Hall. Also, if you see Hua Wudao, tell him to come meet me at once. Yes, master. Lu Zhou glanced at the derived Moon Palace's female cultivator, who was standing at the side. He stroked his beard and asked, How's Yi Qianxin doing these days? The female cultivator immediately fell to her knees with a thud. She was so frightened that she could barely speak coherently. When Pan Zhong saw this, he cupped his hands together and said, In reply to your question, Pavilion Master, apart from being weak, she seems fine. Lu Zhou nodded. With the constitution of the Bays, this ailment was nothing. Before the truth of the Fish Dragon Village incident was revealed, he had no plans of doing anything to Yi Qianxin. Finally, he said curtly, I'm tired. Have a good rest, master. Lu Zhou rose to his feet and went into the hidden chamber. He had no time to read the heavenly writing during the past 2 days. His mental state was slightly worse compared to before. Name, Lu Zhou. Race, human. Cultivation base, Brahmin C8 meridians. Merit points, 6,212. Avatar, Mighty Four Quadrants. Remaining life, 5,800 days. Item, Deadly Strike card X1, Impeccable card X2, Critical Block card X7 passive, Binding Cage card X4 Witzer Bayan. Weapon, Unnamed Amorous Hoop Owner, Yi Qianxin. Requires rear refining to use. Life Cutter Owner, Zhang Qiuqi. Requires rear refining to use. Cultivation Method, 3 scrolls of heavenly writing. 6,000. I'm still about 1,000 short. Lu Zhou frowned. He could not afford an avatar yet. They were too expensive. Looks like I'll have to think of a way to earn more merit points after this. Since he had not completed the investigation of the Fish Dragon Village incident, he, naturally, did not receive his handsome reward yet. Lucky draw. Ding! Spent 50 merit points on a lucky draw. Thanks for participating. Luck +1. I wonder if I'll still miss if I choose a lucky draw again. Lu Zhou decisively spent his merit points on another lucky draw. Ding! Spent 50 merit points on a lucky draw. Luck 8. Obtained avatar. 5 energies universe. Really? The actual avatar would have cost him more than 8,000 merit points, and yet he had somehow obtained it for 50 merit points? However, just like the logic of, if only I had known, I would have gone for the 7th jar. He knew he would not have this stroke of good luck if he did not experience the setbacks from before. Use. The 4 Mighty Quadrants avatar was immediately replaced by the 5 Energies Universe avatar. This was a state of having one's 5 energies return to the Dantian's Sea of Qi after connecting the Run and Do meridians. However, Lu Zhou had connected the meridians a long time ago. Hence, when he obtained the 5 Energies Universe avatar, primal Qi surged and flowed into his body like an incoming tide. It felt extremely comfortable. After that, Lu Zhou spent some time getting used to his new avatar. He felt that there was a profound improvement in his cultivation base. He sighed as he stretched his limbs. I need some reversal cards. It was true that he got more, thanks for participating, than an actual item from his past lucky draws. However, he could tell that he made a profit in general. Lucky draw. Ding. Spent 50 merit points on a lucky draw. Thanks for participating. Luck +1. He did 5 consecutive draws, and the outcomes were the same. After obtaining the 5 Energies Universe avatar, Zhou was not affected by the 5 failures. He could increase his luck points anyway. He could accept anything so long as it was not some useless item. Zhou made no further attempts at the lucky draw. Instead, he opened the items column. He wanted to see if there were any newly available item cards. What's this? At the bottom of the list, Zhou noticed a purple box where he'd expected to see an item card. There was a note that read, "A mysterious box." Mysterious box? Price, 2,000 merit points. Available for 1 day. A limited time offer? Zhou frowned. This reminded him of certain games back on Earth. This was a classic tactic of unethical merchants. However, was the system this senseless? Zhou's gut told him there was something valuable inside the mysterious box. Purchase. There was a flash of light before a box appeared in the center of the hidden chamber. The purple box was an exact replica of the one displayed on the system dashboard. After observing it for some time, Zhou realized there was no way to open this box. It was completely sealed. Bam! Zhou waved his arm casually. An energy wave hit the box. Nothing happened. Bam! 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 Zhou continued waving his arm, launching a barrage of attacks on the mysterious box. Outside the hidden chamber, little Yuaner and Minsky heard the commotion from the hidden chamber. Don't go. Master isn't satisfied with the events at the Fish Dragon Village. He's at the peak of his rage now. Mingshi quickly stopped little Yuaner, who was about to enter the hidden chamber. Oh. Little junior sister, are you free? Why? Spar with me. Look at my separation hook and scabbard. Master gave it to me. Little junior sister, why are you crying? Mingshi raised his hand, and the separation hook and scabbard materialized in the air before slowing, dropping into his hand. Before Mingshi could inquire further, he heard Duanmu Sheng's voice ringing from outside the Great Hall. Old Fourth, I heard the good news. Master has given you a weapon, right? Come now. I can barely wait. Now that you have such a great weapon, I'm sure you'll last longer than before. Quickly, Duanmu Sheng carried his overlord spear in his left hand as he dragged Mingshi out of the hall with his right hand. Mingshi was speechless. Little Yuaner scoffed. Serves you right for picking on me. Inside the hidden chamber, Zhou continued bombarding the mysterious box with his energy blasts. The box remained unaffected. Not even a scratch could be seen on it. A box that can't be opened. What's the meaning of this? I spent 2,000 merit points for nothing. Zhou bent down and studied the box carefully. Other than the grooves on the box, there was nothing special about it. Zhou remembered his weapon, unnamed. What will happen to this sturdy box if I use unnamed on it? He raised his right hand slightly. The exquisite and refined sword, unnamed, materialized in his hand. He waved it casually. Bang! Unnamed collided with the mysterious box. Sparks flew everywhere. Zhou's first reaction was to inspect unnamed. There were no scratches on it. Then he looked at the box. Just like unnamed, it was untouched. The only change was a fine scratch on its surface. When Zhou blinked, the scratch mark was gone. It was as though it had melted away. It was apparent that unnamed was superior. However, this box's material was extremely peculiar. It was capable of restoring itself. Unnamed could even break the Dark Knight's Peak Earth-grade weapon. This meant the material of this box was tougher than a heaven-grade material. Zhou stood up. He decided to give up on studying the box. Since the system sold him this box, it would certainly have its use. It was meaningless to be too anxious about this. When the boat reaches the head of the pier, it would straighten itself. He was certain he would eventually find a way. Heavenly writing. Zhou sat with his legs crossed and began to comprehend the heavenly writing. During this time, he discovered it was extremely easy to immerse himself in comprehending the heavenly writing. Apart from that, he noticed that he no longer had to call up the scrolls. Once he calmed down, the words of the heavenly writing would appear in his mind. The scripts and symbols would move along and repeat where necessary, as though he was watching a movie. Meanwhile, in a meeting hall on the green jade altar in the righteous sect, the fifth elder, Zhang Chu, recounted with great detail everything that had happened to Zhang Yuanshan, the sect master of righteous sect. His face was wet with tears and snot as he recounted the events. The other elders could not help but shake their heads as they listened to him. Sect master, the fiend temples Ren Buping deliberately brought you away. This is clearly a plot of luring the tiger away from his mountain. Ji Tiandao seized the opportunity and killed Elder Zhang. I've said before that the people from the fiend path are not to be trusted. Zhang Chu, are you sure it was the evil sky pavilion's Ji Tiandao and sword devil Yu Shangrong? Zhang Yuanshan asked with his hands resting on his back. I'm absolutely sure. Even if I'm lying, there were many disciples on the green jade altar at that time. They can all bear witness to this. Zhang Chu raised his hand. Look, my thumb was severed by the sword devil. The others were shocked. How did you survive an encounter with the sword devil? Enough. Zhang Yuanshan snapped. The meeting hall fell silent. The others did not dare to speak. They could only look at their sect master. Zhang Yuanshan frowned as he said loudly, there are many flaws in this matter. We shouldn't jump to conclusions before we gain a better understanding of this matter. We'll put Zhang Qiuqi's death aside for now. Did Elder Zhang die in vain? Why? Are you going to avenge him? Zhang Yuanshan retorted. The meeting hall fell silent again. Who would dare to provoke the evil Sky Pavilion? Even the fates of the Divine Capital Special Forces, the four Dark Knights, remained unknown ever since they entered the evil Sky Pavilion. The Fiend Temple's Washin-chan, the only elite in the world who entered the nascent divinity tribulation realm, to the Fiend's End died in the evil Sky Pavilion. Who would dare to go there now? The only thing they could do was wait. They could only wait for Ji Qiandao's life to run out. When that day arrived, the evil Sky Pavilion would crumble. Tongzi Town, dozens of miles away from Golden Court Mountain, an old man and a middle-aged man were resting at a table with a pot of tea. The middle-aged man hesitated for a moment before saying, Master, are we really going to the evil Sky Pavilion? I heard that they're all villains who are wicked and crazy. If anything were to happen to you, the old man sighed softly and shook his head. I've hesitated many times over the past 20 years. Sometimes I'm afraid. Sometimes I'm worried that I might disgrace the name of the Yun sect. However, there are also times when I'm worried that Ji Tiandao will become too old to fight. At that time, I'll have to carry this knot in my heart to the grave. If that happens, even if I die, I won't be able to die in peace. But the noble and fiend paths do not tolerate each other. If it weren't for my status as a Yun sect elder, why would I delay the matter until this day? The old man said. When he saw the middle-aged man had nothing more to say, the old man sighed and said, You're still young. There's no need for you to dwell on complicated matters. When you're at my age, you'll come to understand everything. I truly don't understand any of this, and I don't think I want to. Evil creature, I've made up my mind. Don't bring this up ever again, the old man said as he lowered his cup on the table. The middle-aged man kept his thoughts to himself. 2 days passed in just a blink of an eye. During this time, Zhou continued to comprehend the heavenly writing in the evil Sky Pavilion. The familiar and comfortable mental state was restored. He opened his eyes slowly and looked at his remaining merit points on the system dashboard. He had 3,862 points left. Relying on missions to earn merit points seems to be too slow. Zhou suddenly recalled he could earn merit points if someone devoutly worshipped him. He thought it was high time for him to give his disciples something to do. Zhou was about to get up when he heard little Yuaner's voice. Master, someone's at the foot of the mountain asking to see you. Who is it? Hua Wudao. Zhou was slightly surprised. He did not expect Hua Wudao to show up so soon. If he's here at the Evil Sky Pavilion, despite being afraid of people stronger than him, he's quite brave. Creak. Zhou pushed the hidden chamber's door open and emerged with his hands on his back. Master, you become younger again, little Yuan said with a smile. Zhou chided her. If you have the time to flatter me, you should be spending them cultivating. You should follow your fourth senior brother's example. Oh, all right. Yuan nodded obediently. The duo entered the Evil Sky Pavilion's Great Hall. Zhou Jifeng, Pan Zhong, and the Derived Moon Palace's female cultivators were present in the Great Hall. Duanmu Sheng and Mingshi Yin were standing at the side. Pavilion Master, Hua Wudao will be here soon, a female cultivator said with a bow. Zhou stroked his beard calmly. He suddenly remembered that Zhao Yu was still inside the Cave of Reflection. He asked, How's Zhao Yu's repentance coming along? Mingshi Yin bowed and said, Fifth junior sister has been reflecting on her past conducts daily. Did the witchcraft spell worsen? Zhou was more interested in this. Not for now. Zhou nodded. The power of witchcraft was peculiar. For the time being, it only seemed to be suppressing Zhao Yu's cultivation base. However, the elite from the palace might have planted something else. Keep a close eye on her. Understood. At this moment, a female cultivator led an old cultivator and a middle-aged cultivator inside the Great Hall, catching everyone's attention immediately. The old man, who looked to be in his 70s, had a slight hunch. His appearance was extremely ordinary. The man who stood next to him was only slightly younger than him and carried a huge blade with him. The middle-aged man was clearly nervous. He kept glancing around his surroundings as soon as he entered the Great Hall. The old man, on the other hand, was unperturbed. His expression was solemn as he moved at neither slow nor rush speed. Is this Hua Wudao who fought the Evil Sky Pavilion's Patriarch many years ago? As they walked to the center of the Great Hall, the old man did not kneel. Instead, he cupped his hands together and said, We meet again. The other disciples frowned at this. Zhou looked at the old man. You may sit. Hua Wudao took him up on his offer. He sat down and said, I should have paid you a visit earlier. However, I was tied up by other matters and delayed my visit to this day. Zhou stroked his beard. He was in no hurry as he spoke indifferently. Hua Wudao, you're from a Yun sect. The noble and fiend paths have never tolerated each other since ancient times. Aren't you afraid that I might kill you for coming to the Evil Sky Pavilion at a time like this? Hua Wudao replied calmly, I might be afraid if this had been in the past. However, I'm not the same person anymore. I've been through life and death. If I were afraid, I wouldn't be here today. Little Yuan said with a smile, You're a brave one. After she finished speaking, she snorted at the middle-aged man next to Hua Wudao, causing him to stumble back in fright. When Hua Wudao saw this, he looked at the middle-aged man from the corners of his eyes and reprimanded him. Good for nothing. You've utterly disgraced me. The middle-aged man turned red from embarrassment. Zhou stroked his beard and said, I commend you for your bravery. Hua Wudao cupped his hands together and said, I've been obsessed with cultivation in my pursuit of Tao. The quarrels between the fiend and noble paths have nothing to do with me. Mingshi Yin said with a smile, That's nice, but since you're an elder of Yun sect. Hua Wudao waved his hand and said, Before I traveled north, I resigned from my post as an elder. Everyone was taken aback by this. Humans usually place great importance on fame and power. The Yun sect was one of the powerful Yun, Tian, and Luo sects. Many coveted the position of an elder, and yet this old man claimed he had given it up. When Hua Wudao spoke, his expression was earnest. I'm advanced in age, and I'll return to dust soon. I came to the Evil Sky Pavilion today only to resolve the knot in my heart. The knot in your heart? Little Yuan asked as she played with a few strands of her hair. Hua Wudao said slowly, 20 years ago, I was defeated by Brother Ji. Since then, my cultivation base hasn't improved. This has made me a laughingstock in the Yun, Tian, and Luo sects. Even ordinary cultivators would ridicule me for this. This led to a knot forming in my heart. What does the knot in your heart have to do with my master? Mingshi Yin asked after he rolled his eyes. Since the knot had formed due to Brother G, it's only natural that only Brother G can remove it. Over the past 20 years, I've been mulling over the few skills that Brother G used to defeat me. While Wu Dao said, Bullsh asterisk T. Mingshi Yin cursed. Who are you to call my master, Brother G? Besides, your cultivation base didn't improve in the past 20 years? Are you here to ask for a beating? Hua Wu Dao was taken aback. This was the Evil Sky Pavilion, a place where cultivators were afraid of. At this moment, he was facing the greatest villain the world had ever known. Indeed, it was slightly inappropriate for him to refer to the great villain as Brother G. I have been rude, Hua Wu Dao said sincerely. Zhou stroked his beard and said, This disciple of mine has always been uncouth, but he has spoken my mind. When Mingshi Yin heard this, he rejoiced inwardly. He even wore a threatening expression because of his master's words. Hua Wu Dao was unfazed by Mingshi Yin's attitude. Instead, he said, I've come to the Evil Sky Pavilion with a single goal in mind, to undo the knot in my heart. I was your opponent 20 years ago, and I admit that I won't be a match for you today. You've lost, and that's all there is to it. Your cultivation base has stagnated ever since, and you have a knot in your heart. What does that have to do with me? Do you think the Evil Sky Pavilion is full of merciful Buddhas? Zhou asked in a deep voice as he stroked his beard. Hua Wu Dao was rendered speechless by these words. Mingshi Yin spoke again. You can't blame anyone else for your lackluster skills. Resenting the Evil Sky Pavilion won't change anything. At this point, the middle-aged man who had remained silent from the beginning interjected with a slight hint of defiance. My master came here with sincerity in his heart, and yet you've been humiliating him nonstop. You're all insufferable bullies. Speaking the truth counts as bullying? Mingshi Yin said with a chuckle as he rolled his eyes.